Hey, I really don't know how to start this video, so I'll just go by the title. Last year, 2024, when I turned 26, or a little bit after I turned 26, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which is not common. It's not common at all. Something that I never thought would happen to me. And so I'm making a digital diary or just videos to kind of help me cope with what's going on in my life and just documenting my life post diagnosis, just life after cancer. And I'm just hoping that this video reaches an audience for people who have been in similar situation as me, or even some co-survivors that kind of want to understand a little bit more of what their people, their loved ones are going through. And for this first video, I'm just going to, start off by making my story. So I plan to do this video in a few parts, organize my thoughts and what I want to say. So in this first part, I'm just going to have a few questions that I just look down occasionally to just speak to you guys on. The first one is, where were you in life before being diagnosed? And for me, it was, oh God, I was in the process of possibly teaching abroad in 2024. Before that, I recently moved back to America from London. I was there for almost 3 years, and my career, whole life situation just took a shift, and honestly, it was the best decision for me to come back. And since coming back, I was job searching, trying to figure out what was best for me without acting out of scarcity or desperation just by getting any job. So that year I had to say some no's to a few offers, but also me receiving the no's and the you don't qualify, type of thing. So fast forward, I decided to jump out on a whim to say, hey, I actually still want to live abroad again. Let's try this again, maybe a different country. And so I was going through the process of possibly teaching abroad. And right before my final interview for teaching abroad, I decided to just go on and get my medical stuff out the way, which was seeing my primary care doctor, also going to the dentist, and all those things to just have for my records before I moved to another country. And in that process, I was at my OBGYN, and that's when she felt a lump. Now, just for clarification, I've always had this lump, basically majority of my life. Been to doctors in between, and it never became an issue. I didn't feel like it was an issue. It wasn't something that bothered me, let alone, I don't think I was properly taught which was which, because as you can see, I'm a small individual. I don't really know the difference between a lump versus just dense breast tissue. I don't even know if they teach that in school, to be honest. So I just was going on with my life because it didn't really affect my life until she brought it up. And I was like, I'm usually good. Like, I don't, I never thought to look any further. And so she told me, just in case, just to take precautions, that we would get a biopsy done on that area. So as I'm going to all these doctor's appointments, like I said, my interview was still happening, was knocking those out, was feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident, like, yes, I'm finally able to get that yes so I could get back to my life again, I would say, because I was taking a break without taking a break. I think at the time, me being young, a master's graduate, I was just ready to jump back into life again, because at the age, it's just career. You never really take a full break. And so once I got the biopsy done, I was with my mom when I was waiting for the results. I want to say it probably took a week and a half for me to get the results back. And the day is very vivid. So I was diagnosed on June 25th, 2024. And I went to that doctor's appointment with my mom. I really wasn't concerned because I was just like, yeah, like I'm about to be out of here. Like I wasn't really thinking about if something went wrong, not according to my plan. And so went with my mom, It was like one of the last appointments they had that day. Didn't really think nothing of it. Took the head doctor to come in. Took her 45 minutes. Honestly, we were just like, what the hell? Like, why is it taking so long? And so I wasn't really nervous about anything, but I guess my mom's like mother instincts kind of just figured something was off. She comes in and she just says, yeah, we found cancer cells. And in my brain, I'm like, okay. So like, are we going to get them out? Like, what is it? Like, what are you trying to say? And I guess because I live in a smaller town where they don't have the proper technology to tell me exactly what it could be, but she just kept saying cancer cells. So I'm like, is it cancer? Is it not cancer? Like what is it? So she basically said that we had to see a specialist in a different city over to truly tell me what it is, stage XYZ. And I was just like, okay, wasn't in my plan, but okay, let's get it done. Like, let's do what we have to do. And so they, on their back end, booked my appointments and stuff. And I went home that day and I cried. I had a moment where I was just like, what is going on? Like she was telling me, but like not telling me, or maybe I was just in my brain about what she was saying, but I was just like, can you just tell me something? And so literally the next day, I got an email from my final interview, the company that I was trying to work for to teach abroad, and I figured out that I didn't get it. And something in me knew that this was stopped on purpose and it was for a reason. Because, not to even gas myself up, but maybe I should, I was very equipped for the position. But for whatever that was going on in my life, I just think it was a time to really just like sit and reset. I feel like since I've been grown as an adult, 18, I've just been on go, 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 go. Next career, next goal, next thing, just on to the next, rather than sitting with my accomplishments and really thinking about the things I've done in my life. And to get that no, I think it truly put into perspective of what's coming next or what I'm about to deal with. It was such a gut-wrenching no, to where I don't think I've ever howled out like that in my life. And I've been through some things where, crying and all that, because I am kind of a crybaby, but out of all the rejections I've gotten, this one hurt the most because I knew it needed to happen. So I just bawled because I was just like, oh, like it was giving not again, but also like this has to happen. And I think that's what hurt my feelings the most. Truly hurt my feelings the most. I just sat there and thought about what happened the day prior and waiting for that next appointment to fully understand what was going on and to be like, there's no way this is happening to me right now in this moment where I'm like feeling like this is peak career, peak, doing all the things, making the money, XYZ, just whatever. I just felt like it was closed. Everything was closed. And I just had to take a step back and just figure out what was going on. And that following week, I had an appointment with the specialist, and he told me that it was stage 0 at the time of breast cancer. Specifically, DCIS is what I've been told. And that day was full of a lot of different emotions where I was like determined to be like, okay, let's just get this thing out. And also just wanting it to be past me, even though at that time, reflecting back now, that the surgery and removing it is the first hurdle. The mental, emotional, and the physical changes in your body follows right after. So I had a really good doctor. He spoke to me in confidence that he was, going to do the best that he could, that I was going to survive this, telling me all the things, but also in a way to where it felt sincere. It wasn't in a way to where he wanted to push me to go to a certain treatment, whether that be chemo, whether that be lumpectomy, whether that be double bilateral mastectomy. So really all the cards were in my hand to kind of just choose what I wanted to. And I decided to go the double bilateral mastectomy route just because in my mind I just wanted to get it out. And from what that conversation went, he basically told me that nowadays they're able to put breast implants in, so I won't be completely flat. I know that's not for everyone or the timeline of how things have happened in technology and science and stuff, but that was one of the options that I had, and I took it. And I was just like, this has to be the best decision for me, because in order to maintain what I'm going through mentally, or just having that conscience of something could be in the other breast, because it was in my left breast and I just wanted to remove it completely. We've done a genetic test and that came back negative as well. And once they did more testing on me, they figured out that I was estrogen positive. Can't remember if it was HER2 negative or positive. I'm still figuring out all the terminology and trying to understand everything and keep up with medications, figuring out my blood pressure, blood type, all of these things. It's just, as a young adult, sometimes you don't think about any of these things when you're going to the doctor's office, and it is crucial. As much as it's a lot of information to remember, writing it down, having it somewhere is very, very, very crucial. And I realized that through this entire process, to just be aware of what's going on in your body. Next section is going to be the treatment plan. For my doctors, after I had my surgery and they tested the mass that I had, they also found a smaller mass that was more invasive. So they had to go back, do another test. I had to get one of my lymph nodes removed to make sure it didn't travel anywhere else. Turns out that was negative for it, but they also gave me a number of, I guess, how do I explain it? They gave me a number based on if the cancer was going to come back or not. And it's on a scale from 0 to 100. I got a 10, which is pretty good. The pathologist informed me that in all of her career, she's never really seen a 0. So in a way, that was a win for me. But at the same time, me not obviously being in the field, I was just like, it needs to be 0. In order for my mind to clear, it needs to be 0. But I'm glad that what it was, because I'm one of the ones that found it early, blessed and lucky to find that early, even though it was very scary to realize that through surgery, there was something that was more invasive in my body, which is like already feeling like there's something in me that's trying to kill me. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like a sigh of relief. I ended up getting a call from my doctor to inform me that of all of that, kind of breaking it down. And he also told me that it wouldn't be beneficial for me to partake in chemo for a treatment plan. And I bawled, because not from my own personal experience, but just experiencing, people in my family who've also had cancer, who had to go the chemo route. It scared me. It scared me, and it was just something that I'm glad I had the option that I didn't have to go through that, because I just pray for the individuals that go through something like that, because it is very invasive, very hard on the body, and already have to go through what you're going through mentally. The surgery it's a lot. So I commend people who have been through that process. And for me, my treatment plan was to go the menopausal route, which was like menopause. So that means I'm not going to have a period, and I'm going to be having symptoms of someone who's in their early 60s, which was okay. It's not chemo. Let's just do the things. A lot of the treatment plan, or the goal of my treatment plan, is mainly like precautions. I believe of course I've had the option to say no to treatment, but putting it on a scale of no treatment, this is the treatment, I still decided to go the treatment route just because honestly, there's not a lot of research for individuals my age or younger, or even 30 and under, for people who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. So in terms of the longevity of the treatment plan to be 10 plus years, that's not enough science to kind of back it up. So this is the route that we have to take to kind of extend me to go beyond 10 plus years to recheck and make sure everything is good. So treatment, menopause. I am on 3 medications. I'm sorry, 3 medications. One is a shot that I have to take every single month. Another is a pill that I have to take every morning, and a pill I have to take every night to kind of subside the side effects of the medication. So basically, I am in a, what is it called? Medically induced. Why am I having a brain fart? A medically induced menopause. Yes, medically induced menopause. So all the symptoms that someone that's 60 plus has, I'm experiencing right now. No periods. My knees hurt. My hands hurt. I wake up cramped like this. Car rides are a disaster nowadays. I just can't do it, and I'm just constantly sore. Honestly, I can't bend down like I used to. It's a lot of things where I'm just like, okay, even mentally with me being angry, but also crying, and then I'm hot as hell all the time. Keep in mind, I used to be a cold-natured person. I used to deal with a little anemia here and there, but now I don't even think that shit exists because I feel like a furnace. Literally like a furnace. So, according to my oncologist, this is something I possibly have to deal with for the next 2 to 5 years, depending on when he feels like it's a good time to take me off. Because I am so young, you know, I have time to think about kids. I didn't have to do the IVF route because I didn't do chemo, but something I had to consider, because when I went to my appointment, he even said, hey, do you plan on having kids? And I was just like, yeah, but not right now. Like, I'm not even thinking about that, and having to think about that in that setting for future me, it was terrifying, honestly, because I was just like, wait, I'm still, you know, still young and chirpy. Like, I'm not ready for all that yet. And it just took me aback. And even in the appointment, I just started crying. I was just like, damn, like, it's like one thing after another that I felt like I just had to throw my hands up and surrender, because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was just like, this is so much information to take in. And even since being diagnosed, it was just like back to back to back to back, just shit to handle, decisions to make. And you got to make the decisions, and quite fast, actually. So it was something that it just changed my whole being and how I see myself, just all the things. I don't even have the words for it, to be honest. And for the third part, how it changed me. Ooh, it's changed me into a completely different person. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I feel like cancer really lit a fire underneath my ass for a lot of different things. It sparked something in me where, in order to get to where I want to be in life, to the next step, I couldn't continue to live the way that I was before. Not to say the way I was living was wrong or whatever, but I had to grow up in a different way to be there for my future self. I couldn't keep being in survival mode that I was in the past. That wasn't going to serve me in my next chapter. And sometimes it takes you being stripped away of everything to realize what's most important. Sometimes it takes unfortunately, if you stay in a place for too long, you have to be ripped from it instead of voluntarily saying, hey, I give up. And sometimes that's how people learn. And unfortunately, that's how I learned. I can't really focus on it. Was it stress? Was it, the environment I was in? I don't really know how all of this came about, but I just know moving forward that I trust myself and my body in a way that I've never honestly experienced before. It's truly changed my entire trajectory of how I see myself, to be honest, because it went from, being the college student that eventually went to graduate school, moved out of the country again, and, experiencing life in a new place and with new people and just starting a life for yourself somewhere completely different from where I grew up in. And I wanted to maintain that so bad, but on the back end of that, it was, not being appreciated in the workplace and, being discriminated against and not making enough and just trying to make ends meet and trying to make it work so bad because this is a dream I've had since I was a kid. And sometimes when things don't look the way you expected them to be, it just throws you off. Throws you off completely. Not to say that you're not deserving, not to say, anything wrong with you, but sometimes things look a little different and it's probably the best thing for you. And this whole experience just changed all that for me, to be honest. I never really got a chance to focus on some of the hobbies or just things that I used to enjoy that didn't, require me making something transactional or making a side hustle of it or just having to work all the time. And now I have the time to focus on my mental health, focus on my physical health, focused on, nurturing the relationships that I have. Because when I was in London, I had a community of people, but it looked very different from my friends and family back home. And to experience that on a different level now, where I am now, I'm just forever grateful and thankful for the people that I've been surrounded by that has really put the battery in my back when I was just out of gas. To be honest, this experience tore down my confidence. It tore down who I thought I was as a person, what I thought I valued. Obviously, valuing the wrong things. It just truly shows you what's most important, to be honest. That's the best way that I could say it. And honestly, even from relationship with friends, family, how I see dating, honestly, has just, it's shifted. It went from, I don't even know, it just changed, to be honest. There's some stuff that I just truly care about, and some shit I just don't I just don't care about it anymore. And moving forward, those relationships and how I see them and how I view them has changed as well. And I guess I started this channel to document life after cancer, because you truly learn who you are again in a different way, whether you're shedding a past person and becoming something different, or also seeing yourself in a different way that you never saw yourself before. And I'm slowly learning to pick those pieces back up and figure out who I am, and feeling good and confident in that way. Like I said, viewing myself completely different from when I viewed myself before, and feeling good. I have my days, like today, this is a day where I'm the most optimistic. So I'm like, hey, let's just turn the camera on, because this is something I felt like I needed to do to build a sense of community for people like me who've been experiencing this, but also, just a young person just trying to figure it out with the ups and downs and the dips. I wanted to make this digital diary for myself to know that there is a reason to keep going. When I look at myself in the mirror, to know that I'm a person, I'm a body that's living and breathing and wanting to truly take care of this person, and listen to my body, because I've never really listened to it before. Yeah, you know, you listen to the cues of, oh, I'm hungry, or I'm sleepy, or I'm tired. But when something feels tense, where you're in an environment where you can feel a shift, but you're not paying attention to that shift, how people treat you, you know, staying on top of your health when the things that you can't see, obviously, and loving yourself through it all, because it was moments where I felt like I was so low, angry at times, where I didn't even like myself. I didn't even recognize myself. And that was hard to face and hard to see. And hard to come out, to be honest. It just felt like I was constantly trying to gasp for air, constantly. And I got to a point to where, you know, after surgery, going through treatment, just learning how to truly give myself grace and what that means, and working with myself, because this is a body, honestly, that has changed, that is different for me now. And knowing that I wake up, my body breathes on its own, I'm walking, you know, without assistance, you know, I'm so grateful for this body, for this person, and truly sitting in that. And I notice how I talk to myself differently, how I care for myself differently, and knowing that the person that I want to be, I can be that person right now and be in preparation for who I'm going to be right now. So at this moment, I'm learning how to crochet. I'm going back into painting. I like Legos. I love music. I love languages. And I finally got to the point to where I'm just honing on and focusing on those things, because everything else I honestly just cannot change. And to just nip that in the bud that you can't change it. Focus on what you can. Don't fixate on too much. Just truly be in the moment and enjoy. And when there's the dips of the moments of the sadness, the loneliness, the uncomfortableness, the trying to figure it out, I always just try to lead with grace as much as I can, because if I can't give it to myself, the external factors, they only last so long. So yeah, that's what it's overall taught me. And if you stuck around to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you for your time, for watching. There will be more coming soon on just breast cancer diaries, whether that be treatment videos, whether that be conversations about mental health, whether that be products in terms of, since I'm going through menopause, honestly, some deodorants have not worked for me. That's a whole nother conversation to have. Dating, friendships, and honestly, just navigating life on the other side of things, life after breast cancer, and that could look like a whole different, you know, life that you once had before. And I'm just navigating it as I go, to be honest. One day I might be in the gym, one day you might see me cooking. I don't know if I'm gonna cry on camera, but just being vulnerable and having a sense of community with people who have been through something similar, or someone who just wants to come along for the ride to see, you know, what someone so young dealing with issues such as cancer. Because like I said before, I did not know it could happen to me. And so I just want to spread awareness for other individuals to get checked, go to the doctor. I was a person that went to the doctor, but still, go to the doctor even more, ask questions. If you don't know what's a normal blood pressure for your BMI, ask. Just ask. The other day I went to the doctor. I don't know if it was fairly high, and she asked me, oh, is that your normal? Girl, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So just please, please, please go to the doctor and make sure you check your boobs. Make sure, you know, if you just feel anything, just have a hunch, just please go to the doctor. Do not postpone it. And I'm just so grateful that you stuck around for the video. Hopefully you'll stick around for more, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.